How are you doing, folks? Welcome to my first beginner to beginner tutorial. Today I will be showing you how to make your own first Unity project, and then I will explain to you the basic interface of Unity, and then together we'll create our first 3D object. Now folks, we are on my desktop. I want you to pay attention to this file right here. This will be important just a bit later. First, let's open Unity. I will assume that you have Unity on your desktop installed. If you don't, I will make sure to leave a link in my description so you can download Unity on your PC. Now folks, once you open Unity, we are greeted with this screen right here. Let me actually full screen it. There we go. What we will do is click this new projects button. And then here Unity will offer us some templates. These templates are all different. For example, if you want to build a 3D game, you can pick this. Or maybe you want a 2D game, or maybe mobile, maybe VR. So depending on what you want, we'll pick a different template. For now, we'll stick with a 3D template. Now we have two options. Sorry, folks. We got 3D built-in render pipeline, and we got Universal 3D. In comparison, Universal 3D is more modern, more new. While in comparison, 3D with built-in render pipeline is much more old. It's more simple. It's still usable, very useful, but it's old. For now, we'll pick the 3D built-in render pipeline template simply because it's simple. This tutorial is gonna be simple after all. Now we click on this bad boy, go here. Now we need to add the details of the project. First, we'll give it a name. Let me give it a name. 3D object. That's fine enough. Now pay attention to here. Here we need to find the location for our project files. And for that, I want to pick the file I mentioned earlier. Here, this is it. I'll pick this as the project's location. So to do that, we click this, get to the desktop, and then there it is, Ömer's projects. Let's select this folder. There we go. And then let's create our project. Now folks, once your project is loaded, you will be greeted with this. This is Unity Studio or project. There may be many buttons and menus here, but don't worry. All you need to do is follow along with me for now. In time, I will explain all the menus, buttons, and stuff. Now, once we're here, I want to introduce a few things, a few menus. First of all, the scene view. This is the scene view right here. The scene view is where we build your The scene view is where we build our game. This is gonna be our editor, a sandbox. Here we will be moving objects around, rotate them, resize them, and build our level. Now you can navigate in the scene view by right clicking. There we go. And then dragging your mouse. This will make you look around the scene view. And additionally, you can use the WASD buttons to move around the scene view, just like this. Then finally, you can zoom in and out with the mouse scroll. Let me demonstrate. Oops. There we go. Just like this. Now folks, let me tell you something. If you use your mouse scroll while you're right clicking, it will do something different. Instead, as you can see, it will increase a speed. It will increase the speed that you can move around in the scene view with. I will show you a little bit later. For example, let me set it to 2. There we go. Let me try moving around. It's pretty fast. Now let me lower it. There we go. And I'm not even moving. There we go. We'll keep it at the default number, which is just 1. Not quite 1, but that's okay. Next to the scene view, we got game view right here. The game view will show what the players will see when they are playing the game, playing our project. It's like a live preview of our project or scene. Let me show you. There we go. Next up, we got the hierarchy. The hierarchy is a list of everything that are currently in our scene view. For example, currently our scene has 2 objects, a main camera and a directional light. We will get into both of these just a little bit sooner, just a little bit later. And next, we got the inspector menu. In here you will see, you can see and change the details of any selected objects. Whenever you click on an object in the hierarchy or the scene view, the inspector will show its components and the settings. Let me give you an example. Let's select the main camera object. There we go. Now, last but not least, we got the project menu. The project window shows everything in your game. Not just in your scene, but in your entire project. For example, all your assets like 3D models, textures, scripts, sounds, they are all gonna be here. The project window is your game's storage. Now let's get into these two objects. Let's start with the main camera. The main camera is the player's eyes. It controls what the players see when the game runs. In game view, we actually see in the view of the main camera. Let me show. Just like that. We are currently seeing in the view of the main camera. Next, we got the directional light. For now, you don't have to worry about the directional light. It's irrelevant until later. But to keep it short, the directional light is a global light source. Let me show you. If we delete the directional light, and just like that, our scene got dark, because there is no directional light. Now folks, let's get into the meat of the video. Now, we want to create a game, right? We want to make something in Unity. To do that, we need to start small. In the first steps, what we need to do is create objects, to add objects to our scene, to our hierarchy. So let's do just that. Right-clicking on the hierarchy will be greeted with this 3D objects. Then we can pick any of these. You can pick any of these. I will be creating a cube, but you can pick a sphere, a plane, a quad. Just these 6 though. You don't have to do these. So once you pick an object out of these 6, I will be picking cube as I see it. Let's click. And there we go. We created our first 3D object in Unity. Currently we have our cube selected. If you haven't got it selected, you can click on it by simply clicking on it on the scene view, just like this. Or you can click on it in the hierarchy. It's the same, just different. It's the same result, just with different ways. Whether you click on it in the hierarchy or in the scene view, it's the same. Now, with the cube selected, let's look at the cube's inspector window. In the inspector, we got all these components. All of these belong to our cube. For now, let's focus only on the transform component. Here we can see a position, rotation, and a scale. While working with Unity, we will be moving our objects around, rotating them, and changing their size. That is what the transform is for. So let me show you how that is all done. First, the position. In our cube's position, we got three values here, three numbers. We got x, y, and z. These represent our cube's position based on three axes. The red direction right here represents the x-axis. The blue direction, it represents the z-axis. The green direction, it represents the y-axis. With that being said, let's try moving our cube on the across the three axes. Going back to the transform components, let's change our cube's x value. Right now it's at negative 10.8. But how about we change it and make it something like negative, I don't know, 8. And there we go. As you can see, our cube changed across the x-axis. Let's do a few more examples. Let's change our, let's move around the scene view first. There we go. Now what happens if I put 0 as our cube's x value? It moves again. Let's try 5. Let's try 10. And just like that, it's simple. Now let's try the same but with the y and z axis. As I told you before, the y axis is the green direction here. So changing the y axis will either move the cube upwards or downwards. Let's give it a try. Right now our cube's y axis, y value is at 0. How about we make it something like 4? There you go, it went upwards, as you can see. Let me show you again. From 0 to 4. Oops. There we go. Now let's try the opposite. From 4 to negative 4. And just like that, it went downwards. Now let's do the same with the z axis. As you can see, the z-axis is the blue direction here. So let's change that. A few examples here. Now, I noticed that when I click on our game view, we can't see the cube. And that's because, let's switch back to the scene view. And that's because right now, currently, the cube is outside of our main camera's field of view. The main camera cannot cover the entire scene. Instead, the camera has a field of view, a certain field of view. We can see our main camera's field of view by clicking on it. And just like that. As you can see, our cube is outside of this fields. And because of that, it can't be seen in the game view. Now let's change that by putting the cube in the camera's field of view. Let's click on our cube and give its positions a little bit of adjustment. And just like that, yeah, it's in the camera's field of view now. Let's check in the game view. And just like that, in the game view, we can see our cube. Folks, now that we got positioning down, I hope we did, let's move on to rotation and scale. These two have the same logic with position, but you know, instead of repositioning, you just rotate. Let me give an example. Again, the axes are non-changing, it's the same. Let's try rotating our cube object on the x-axis. Let's give it a value of, for example, 50. And there we go. You can see that we rotated our cube. We can fool around with this a little bit, give guys a little bit of examples. on how a rotation works in Unity. Let's change the cube object's Y rotation to something like 30. Maybe we can switch this back to 0. There we go. You can play around with this on your own. I'm not going to show much about this. Now finally, we got scale. Let's switch back our object's rotation so that we can make playing with scale a little easier to see. The scale values allows us to make objects smaller or bigger. So let's play with that also. For example, I want to make my cube much bigger. For that, I need to increase my scale values. Let's make the x value something like 10. And you will see that our cube will get wider. Just like that. Y, let's make it 5. Make it longer. And z, let's make it something like 7. Our cube is much bigger now, and we can also see this in the game view. There we go. Now all of this so far were just one of two ways. Oh, oops, hold on. I made the cube too small. I need to change that. There we go. Now it's back to its original size. As I was saying, you can also change objects' position, rotation, and scale by different methods. Specifically by these tools. In order, these tools are called Move tool, Rotate tool, and Scale tool. These are also these guys, but don't worry about these. We can switch between these tools with our keyboard. We can activate the Move tool by clicking W, and by pressing E we can activate the Rotate tool. And then pressing R, we can activate the Scale tool. Now let's try the same thing that we did with these values, but instead of changing these values, let's do this. Let's use these tools. First, the Move tool. And as you can see, as we use the tool to move the object, you can see the value here changing too. Let's try the other two axes. Now let's try our rotate tool. It's the same logic, but with rotating. Now with the scale tool. And again, the same thing. Now that I showed you these, let's switch back our cube's values to the original values. And for these one, there we go. And for today's video, this is gonna be pretty much it. I showed you guys how to make your own project, a little bit about the interface, and how to make your own 3D objects. I hope you were able to follow along with me. If you couldn't, I don't blame you. But that's it. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Goodbye.